Welcome to Betting.net's How to Bet on Baseball. I'm your host for the show, Mike Goodpastor. Today, we're going to look at ways to maximize your money by betting baseball during the season. It's just starting. The 2022 season looks to be a great season, and you want all the knowledge you can, make a little bit of money, go out and buy your wife dinner every once in a while. Tell her you did it because you bet on sports. I'd watch doing that because if you lose, then you catch all kind of hell. But today we're going to talk about how to bet on baseball. And the difference with baseball and other sports is I think baseball is more of a money line bet. All right. There is a point spread or a run spread. We'll talk about that. We're going to use FanDuel. We'll use my account and walk you guys through how to bet on baseball. And we're going to start off with the money line. And we're going to look at the New York Mets against the Washington Nationals tomorrow. The Mets are a away favorite at minus 134. The Nationals are plus 134. So if I want to bet the favorite at plus 134, it pays off $74 to win. All right. Now, if I want to go with the underdog, the Washington Nationals, I bet 100. It pays 114. So obviously more risk, more reward. But money line betting, I think, is the way to do this. Now, there is a basically spread here, which if you see the spread is the New York Mets minus 1.5, which means the Mets are going to have to win by 2 runs. Having to win by 2 runs, though, gives you odds that pay off much better. You actually pay 115 or 118 on top of your $100 that you bet. Now, if you're taking the underdog with the minus 1.5, the odds drop. So to me, why would I bet the Washington Nationals with 2 runs when I can just bet them straight up to win and have a bigger risk-reward ratio here? Because that's what this is about. Now, when we look at the run line, the New York Mets, Washington Nationals, over-under here is 9 runs. So if you bet the over, 10 runs have to be scored, of course. And if I bet $100 that 10 runs will be scored, it pays at 84. Now, if I bet that they will be under that, the odds are better. All right, so the underdog here is on how many runs are scored. It still pays 96. Now, we're going to talk about parlays a little bit. The big thing about parlays to me is the fact that, most sports books make almost 53% of their money off of people betting parlays. So you've got to watch betting the parlays. But I do have, a little bit here. I'm going to show you. If I'm going to bet a parlay here, so I think that New York is going to win. All right. I hit the wrong button. All right, we'll just go with the Reds. If I think the Reds are going to win, and I click that, they're at plus 168. Now, if I think the runs are going to be over 8, all of a sudden my odds get a hell of a lot better. So that same game parlay, $100 bet, pays 407. So if I'm going to take them off, and I'm going to bet the favorite, the Braves, because the Braves are probably going to beat the Reds. All right? And I think with Malley pitching, I think the Reds are probably giving up 6 or 7 runs. I think there's a really good chance here the over is going to be 8 just because of the Braves in a lot of cases. But all of a sudden, even with that, minus 200 favorite, all of a sudden we're getting almost 2-to-1 odds. So I bet $100, I get 191. So you get that example. The other parlay I will bet from time to time, just for fun, is if I come up here and I think the Angels are going to definitely win, I think the Braves are going to win, and then I parlay that. I mean, I could parlay that even, I'm on the run line, but if I parlay that, if I just go 3 teams that I think are going to win for sure, I'm getting almost 4-to-1 odds there. If I bet $100, I won 376. Now, the other way to do that is, what if I think the Pirates are going to beat the Cardinals? I feel pretty good about that. All of a sudden, I throw them in, and those odds go up to a $100 bet pays at 642, guys. So that's a way to do a parlay. I would still be very careful with the parlays. I would make sure that I'm really sure that that's going to go through. And I mean, like I said, if you bet parlays all 7 days of the week, you're going to be lucky to win 1 or 2 of them. So it's not something where you're going to hit it consistently. Unless you catch a little hot streak, then you got to know when to get out. That's always the thing, knowing when to get out. I mean, I would highly suggest you guys know what you can afford to lose. Don't go over top of that. And I have a few betting tips also. And those betting tips basically are this. All right. Number one, avoid big favorites. Now, odds makers know that recreational folks betting on baseball love to take the favorites. They love to take their own teams. They capitalize on the public bias. They shade the lines accordingly. So this means popular teams like the Red Sox, the Cubs, the Dodgers, the Yankees are always going to have a little bit of extra overprice on what you're playing there. So if I see that the Yankees are playing the Blue Jays and the Yankees are picking against the Blue Jays, then I know that I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the Blue Jays because obviously the guys in Vegas are kind of leaning that way also. And if I've got the Cubs at minus 120 against the Cincinnati Reds, I know that line is probably, there really should be probably a minus 110 or minus 115 because they overvalue the popular teams. So watch out for that. The other thing is take advantage of plus money underdogs. And that means, you can make a lot more money betting on the underdogs here. You just got to pick the right ones. You just can't go through and bet 6 underdogs and hope some of them hit. But they pay off a lot better. You're going to be a lot better off since then. So make sure you take advantage of that. Bet against what the public thinks. I mean, the public's almost never right. Reverse line movement. If the Cubs are all of a sudden minus 170, and then a couple hours later, it's dropped to minus 150. Keep an eye on that line. Bet that dog. The other was divisional dogs, like anything. If it's the NBA and the Pacers play the Pistons, 10 or 12 times, there's familiarity there. So even if you're a big underdog, just by playing somebody so much, especially when you get like halfway through the season, look for those divisional underdogs. The divisional underdogs do a good thing there. The other two things are know the umpires. Because there's a lot of umpires. For example, Ron Kupla, when he's the home plate umpire, unders have gone and won almost 58% of the time. So with that being said, Ron Kupla is a good guy to bet on the under. When Country Joe West is behind the plate, dogs actually win a little over 47% of the time. That's a pretty damn good ratio if you're betting underdogs. Make sure you shop for the best line. Whether it's DraftKings, BetMGM, FanDuel, Caesars, Unibet, whatever it is, shop for the best line because you might get 130 on 4 lines, and that 5th line you find, maybe it'll be 135. You get a little bit better value, The other thing is know the weather. All right, know the weather. If the game's being played in Minnesota, and you don't look to see what the weather's going to be, and you don't look to see what those pitchers' record is in bad weather or cold, inclement weather, you shouldn't be betting. So make sure you know the weather, you know the umpire. Be careful betting the parlays. That's what I got for you today, guys. And at betting.net, the great thing about betting.net is this. I live in Indiana. So if I live here and I go into betting.net, they give me the information on the best sports books to bet in the state that I live in, whether it's Indiana, Alaska, Arizona, Wisconsin. So if you're in Wisconsin, if it's legal to bet somewhere, betting.net has that for you. They rate it for you. They tell you whether it's a good site to bet on or not. You could really trust betting.net. They do a great job there and during the season. You can always go to betting.net for the latest updates on the betting industry. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to wrap this up, guys. It's been a lot of fun. Baseball season is going to be a lot of fun. Make sure you check us out on betting.net all year long. But for betting.net, this is Mike Goodpastor. I'll catch you guys later.